Hello and welcome to another tier list video. Today we're going to be doing something slightly different. We're going to be talking about the Mutator Heroes from the Storm and how easy or difficult it is on various maps. S means that it's very easy, and D means that it's very hard. Comparatively at least, Heroes from the Storm is still a difficult mutator, one of the big three. So even on an easy map, it's not exactly like a free win, but still easier compared to the other maps. And of course, Scythe of Amon and Minor Evacuation will not be ranked because Heroes from the Storm does not appear on these maps. Let's begin with Rifts to Core Hall. Rifts to Core Hall is really easy because the heroes come at fixed intervals of about 3 minutes, and all the way to 17 minutes, you know which heroes you're going to fight, and you fight at most 2 at a time, which makes things really easy. And then later on, they come in groups of like 3, maybe 4. So it's harder than the early game, of course, but still not really difficult. And on this map, the objective is pretty easy. You can beat it kind of quickly, and the heroes always come from the same direction. So you can have your defenses, or you know like where to fight them every time. Overall, fairly easy. Void Thrashing depends on whether or not you get pattern A, which will be here, or pattern B. So because of the possibility of pattern B, I'm going to place Void Thrashing here in B. The reason why pattern B is difficult is because the 8-minute wave will come with 4 heroes. Dehaka, Tychus, Nova, Karax all will attack at 8 minutes, and that's really hard for many commanders. However, in pattern A, you fight only 1 or 2 at a time all the way to the end. Actually, the game ends around like 21 minutes or so, and you can probably just ignore the 21-minute wave and finish the game. So if it's pattern A, it's over here, and if it's pattern B, it's over here because of the 8-minute wave. Mal Warfare is a difficult map for heroes because in the late game you're gonna fight like 4 or 5 heroes multiple times. And it's really rough because they come with every escort wave, basically, whatever the wave that attacks Orana. And for the final terminal, there will be so many heroes that it may be difficult to just survive and keep Orana alive because, yeah, so many attacks. And you also have to deal with the pressure from the suppression towers. Remember that suppression towers will attack really rapidly if you don't deal with them after 3 minutes. And with all these heroes, you're gonna have to spend a lot of time dealing with the heroes first, and then going after the towers. This map is quite difficult for Heroes from the Storm. One of the hardest maps, but not the hardest, I would say. Void Launch goes into A here because Void Launch is not that hard. The enemies come from one of 2 places, and they always end up around the center or maybe the sides. The heroes are also very predictable up until the 14-minute wave, so you know exactly who's coming at what time. And you can spawn camp them if you have the right commanders to do so. You can spawn camp them at the spawn point and kill all the enemies, plus deal a lot of damage to the heroes. Also, this map is also very easy. This map is easy except for the last wave, which with regards to heroes, you're not going to fight the heroes in the last wave anyways. You're going to let them go to your base and you hide buildings or something while you finish off the rest of the shuttles. So the only really difficult wave you kind of ignore in the end. Part and Parcel, also pretty easy for heroes because the heroes are fixed. They come from like 1 of 2 locations, and they don't strike randomly, so you know exactly when to deal with them. You know exactly when they're going to come. This map is also pretty lax in terms of objective time. There isn't a lot of pressure to finish things. You can just slowly clear the map, collect parts while you build up an army so that you have a big enough army to deal with Kerrigan, Artanis plus 1 more that wave. Missed Opportunities is a little more difficult than the others because the late game waves, each escort wave that attacks the bots will come with a hero. And if you're unlucky, you get like Nova, who just snipes the bot to death, or you get someone who like wastes your time like Zagara, and then you are out of position to deal with the next wave, which hits about 30 seconds later. So this one is hard because of the late game when heroes come with every single wave. Of course, with the final wave, there will be like, I think 5 or 6 heroes. I don't remember exactly, but I never fight it. So you just ignore it because you just need to let the bots get back to base. Chain of Ascension is hard. The waves, they come at random seemingly random times because they come with the escort waves that attack the center, and there isn't really a timer that you can pay attention to. So there of course is a timer for it, but like you don't really see it, and it's not fixed because it depends on how fast you push Janara and how fast you fight the hybrids, etc. Also, another thing that sucks is that if you're at the bottom base, the first few enemies will go by your natural, and Nova might even nuke your SCVs. So you can't really expand to the lower base in the early game. So it sucks to have to deal with that as well. So I use Start Switch so that I don't have to deal with the early game Nova nuking my base. Late game, so many heroes also can be quite annoying and difficult. Cradle of Death is not too difficult. The waves can be manipulated, and the enemies, you can pretty much predict where they're coming from because they're going to drop near the truck or the attack wave that comes from the next area, basically. Yeah, it's a little harder to predict where they're going to come from, but the good thing is that at some point after the third escort wave or the truck wave, there are no more waves at all. There might be one final wave around like 29 minutes, but you pretty much ignore that. And if you don't win by then, you pretty much have lost anyways. So you just, yeah, you don't have to fight that one. So in that sense, once you deal with the heroes, there's just no more and you're fine. Also, there's high ground. So if you're someone who has like a huge, you can like tank on the low ground and then you can attack from the high ground, you can actually hit the heroes pretty safely and your main damage dealers won't be affected. This is mainly for like commanders like Alarak or Karax, which can attack from the high ground and just like block them off on the low ground. Oblivion Express is a difficult map, but for heroes, it's not too hard because it's pretty predictable. The only really tough wave is the ones after the 6th train. So the attack wave after the 6th train and then the 7th double train is quite difficult. Depending on how you played it, you can actually ignore the big wave after the 2nd double trains if you hide some structure somewhere and go all in on the 9th train. Of course, this means that you cannot let any trains go, but if you go all in on the 9th train, you don't have to deal with any more heroes. And you can even ignore the big wave after the 2nd double trains. Lock and Load is the easiest map for Heroes from the Storm because the first wave, you fight Raynor, and the second wave comes at 11 minutes, which even though you fight 4 heroes, that's 3 more minutes to get ready compared to Void Thrashing, and you still only fight 4 heroes. So in that sense, it's not too difficult. Later on, you never really fight any wave with like 6 heroes. You fight maybe like 3. And it's not too crazy, it's not too difficult to deal with. And for many commanders, they can even finish the map before like 17 minutes. So you never even deal with Kerrigan Artanis. And that makes this the easiest map for heroes. Vermilion Problem is one of the worst maps for heroes, mainly because of the randomness. So you don't know when they're gonna come. And sometimes if you're unlucky, you fight like a wave of 6 heroes because you didn't fight any for like 5 minutes, and then soon afterwards you have to fight another like 4 or 5 heroes because of the way the mechanism works. And in that sense, you just get overrun by 11 heroes at like 15 minutes and you have no way to deal with it. And this randomness factor makes this really difficult. Also, the place where you defend at the natural is quite small. So any like AoE from Nova and stuff, or if you need structures to defend, they're just going to get nuked. And your SCVs or workers might be collateral damage as a result as well. Don't like this map for heroes. The randomness is just too much. Temple is on par with these other ones. It gets difficult in the late game. There is randomness factor to it. And some people think it's actually really hard because of Assembly of Vengeance, which yes, that specific mutation is hard, but simply heroes on Temple is not too difficult because it's very predictable where to fight them. The map itself is difficult, so that is something to keep in mind. Another thing is that in the very late game, you can just stall. So if you manage to survive up to the late game, you just dump a lot of structures and you just stall. You don't have to fight the last wave that comes from the bottom left. The 22-minute wave for pattern A is also quite difficult. 20-30 wave also difficult, but you can kind of stall them in that sense. So that makes it a little bit easier. If there are no other mutators buffing the heroes, I would say that it's not too bad on this map. And then Dead of Night, the last one, is down here. Dead of Night is a difficult map for heroes because in the late game, they attack you from all four sides. Unless you're someone like Abathur, you don't really know who's outside. You don't want to waste like scans or throw a unit out there. And not to mention that there are special infested constantly attacking you. And if your defenses are not adequate, you're going to get nuked, you're going to get hit by Apocalypse, you're going to get attacked from several sides, and you can't deal with it. The only commander I think that can like really deal with this is Abathur in the late game. Nova can finish before the third night, so that kind of doesn't count. But everyone else, just I don't know like how they can realistically deal with like 12 heroes at once, because that does happen. They do stand outside your base for some time, and that gives you some time to like hit them with your free units if you're using Abathur. But like other commanders, I'm not sure how you would deal with it. Anyways, that's it for these rankings for the Mutator Heroes from the Storm. What are your rankings for these? How do you feel about fighting this Mutator on various maps? Comment your opinions down below.